21 Grams is back, and welcome to the third iteration of our show. And in this iteration, we are offering a one-on-one interview with indie artists, and we're going to examine three very specific aspects of the creative soul. The cerebral, which will be all about the chess moves and deep thoughts that go into the aspects of the work and creating the work. The emotional, which will be all about the investment the artist has made in the work and creating it. And the practical, which will all be about the application of common practices, tropes, and ideas. That being said, I'm your host, Joe Compton. Here now. Let's get deep into it. Is a new episode of 21 Grams.
I didn't edit that at all, and I now realize it's the wrong one. But
it's the wrong guy.
That's not Lindsay, everybody. It's Nikki.
Okay, it's me.
It's Nikki Nelson Hicks, everybody. Mm-hmm. I'm super excited to have you here. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. It's going to be a lot of fun.
For anybody who's not been a part of Going Now and has crawled out from under a rock, tell everybody a little bit about yourself to start with so that they won't mistaken who is actually here.
Yes, it's me, Nikki Nelson Hicks. I am an indie author. I write a lot of different genres. Pretty much you give me a contract, I'll give you a story. I've written in Weird Western, I've written steampunk, I've done horror, I've done pulp. Again, I like to dip my pen into a lot of different wells because it's fun. Just a lot of fun.
Is there a genre you won't write in?
Romance.
Romance?
I can't do romance. I just can't. I would love to because it is a freaking. It's a way to make some money. It's a very, very wealthy. I wish I could. But I'm not a romance person. I was talking with a writer at the Southern Festival of Books about a month ago, and we're talking about this, and she's like, I can't do it. I'm what she called herself, an arrow ace. I said, yeah, I dig that. I understand that. Yeah. I'm not into romance. I just can't. And I wish I could. I really do. I really wish I could, but I just can't. It's not in me. Just can't do it. Is it,
we were just talking off the air about how you were watching a show and you figured it out pretty quickly. Is it because it is so step by step, color by number for you? Is that part of the reason why romance would be so difficult? Because it is very tropey and very by the numbers.
I got nothing wrong with tropes, man. I'm all about the tropes. Trust me, I write a lot of weird shit. But no, I'm not into romance. I'm not.
So it's the lovey-dovey aspect of it.
If I ever have to date again, no. It would be awful. No. Anyone who starts giving me all that, my instance is thinking, okay, what do you want? What's your deal, man? What's your deal? What's your con? I'm obviously a very fractured, broken soul. I just can't. I do not trust anyone. Anyone who starts giving me lovey-dovey, get the fuck away from me. I just can't. It just makes me just want to, I just can't. I just can't. Can't do it.
So, I wanted to talk a lot tonight about your journey with your one of your characters that you love to torture in Mr. Jake Istenhedge, and is there possible we're going to see him in the future? Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I often do my spiel for the Jake stories, and I show I have 2 volumes.
Yeah.
Jake stories. These 2 volumes I consider the New Orleans saga, and then eventually I'm going to write more. It's called the Los Angeles Troubles, because spoilers, at the end of this, he ends up going to Los Angeles. But yes, I do, and because mainly it's all set in 1930s LA, and if you know anything about history, 1930s LA was ripe with sex cults.
Yeah.
So I definitely want him to get involved in this sex cult. I've got it all done. I've got it all. Well, I have it all outlined. Whew, I just gotta find time to write it because right now I'm working on 3 different projects, and I got 2 deadlines looming over me like a sword of Damocles. But eventually I will when I have the free time to play with some more Jake because it's just great fun. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. And again, I love to torture him. And back to romance. Whenever this poor guy does fall in love, I always find a way to destroy that. Because
what's your favorite? What's your favorite characteristic of Jake? What do you find so fascinating about him?
But Jake, for me, it's the fact this poor guy just fell into this, and he truly didn't want. He didn't want any of this. He fell into it, and he is just having to evolve and adapt. And I give him kudos for that. Evolve and adapt. Me too. See, all dead by the end. Everyone's dead. So no, it's for me it's fun. It's to watch someone put them into this horribly weird world and have them just adapt to it. Because it's not a world that he wants anything to do with. None of it. And he has to adapt to it. To me, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Especially because he becomes very much involved in it. He is now a part of the weirdness. So
is there a part of you in him, and what part of him?
Yeah, we've discussed this. And for me, the whole thing I didn't realize about Jake that's a part of me is that in his family, he's considered kind of the black sheep.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we did talk about this, didn't we?
We did. And I swear to you, when I was writing this, when I was creating him, I did not realize this. But yes, that's very much me. I'm not as much the black sheep, but I've never been invited to a family dinner. Not in years. Not in years. I don't know why. I'm a delight. But my family. Well, they're just they just don't know what to do with me. So same thing for him. His family. His family's much more darker and meaner. Mine's not that way at all. They just don't know what to do with me. Okay, they don't know what to do with me. So that's probably the one thing me and Jake have in common is that we are in search of a family. His big thing's in search of a family. I too am in search of like your tribe, and I don't know if I've found it or if I just gave up and don't care anymore. I really like being alone. I really do. I have no problem. We were talking earlier about Wednesday. We were watching Wednesday, and the series on Netflix, and my husband was saying how. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, that's just you. That's you, Nick. I could be alone. I have no problem being alone. Just leave me alone. And I have no problem with it. And yeah.
He obviously he's searching for a family, but in his alone time, are you finding that's kind of when you're writing that part of it when he's alone? Do you feel like you're connecting with him a little bit more than you normally would?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, especially when he does. When he has the whole thing where say for instance, he'll meet someone, fall in love with this person, and I always, of course, break them apart. And or they die or whatever, because this is still pulp. It's pulp. Your pulp hero your noir hero never has happiness. That's like a rule in noir. No one is happy. And it's a lot of fun because you get to play with emotions and stuff. And I'm innately a little bit evil in that way, so I like to play with that. But I guess because
Was there something about 1930s Los Angeles that you discovered that you didn't know before that was kind of really fascinating? Obviously the sex cult thing.
All the sex cults. And what got me about the cults is that they didn't hide it. It wasn't like. We're not.
Yeah, it was pretty open.
No, they were open. We are a cult, and we are looking for. And all these cults were looking for like different truths. The cult was very, very out and open.
Was Manson part of one at one point? I believe. I think Manson was in his early teens.
Actually, Manson kind of dealt a little bit with Scientology. There wasn't nobody who didn't dealt with L. Ron Hubbard and or Aleister Crowley, because Hubbard was actually a devotee of Crowley, because Crowley, if you look at all the occultists in the 20th century, they all the threads go back to Crowley. That guy, he had his hands in everything. But I'm a bit okay. The thing about Manson for me is I don't think he had so much of a cult as this guy was just having a lot of fun. This guy just wanted to do drugs, have sex, and do doom buggies. That's all he wanted. And make music. And he kind of got screwed over by the Beach Boys. If you really want to get into it, he kind of got screwed over by them. And that's one of the reasons why he did the things that's my theory. All the things he did wasn't so much as helter skelter. He was just pissed because they screwed him over. He needed, and that's why he attacked that house. Because one of the Beach Boys used to live next door or in that house. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But yes. But no, back in the 30s, the occult was big. This was after World War One. Spiritualism went back up. After every war, you're going to have a big increase in occult beliefs and spiritualism and stuff. So in World War One, a lot of stuff went up, and a lot of cults. And there are all these people trying to find, truth, spirits, health. A lot of weird health guru stuff. Fascinating to me. I love a good cult. I find cults fascinating because the idea of giving over your power to someone else, to me, is just, I don't understand that. I don't get it at all. But I don't get it for me. I could never do it because I don't trust anybody enough. But I understand how it must feel good to give over that responsibility of your life to someone else. Here, mommy, here, daddy, you tell me what to do. And this person becomes this mythic person. I don't get it because I don't trust anyone enough. So I got a lot of issues. I've been in therapy. We've dealt with it. So, but no, that to me is fascinating. I love cults because of that. I love the idea of trying to figure out why people want to give over their power.
There's a certain design that you have? I mean, I would imagine with these stories, and Jake, especially since you've done so many of them now, that there's almost an automatic feeling to it a little bit. But is there something you strive for every time you write a new Jake story, like the growth within him, something different about him? I mean, I don't know the timelines and how closely you follow, period wise, but I'm just curious if you think about, should he grow here or not, and how restrained or how loose are you with that idea?
I do want him to grow. Of course I do, because that's fun. I mean, for a character not to grow just gets dull. But I don't really think too much about it. That to me is kind of the magic in writing. It happens. One of my favorite Jake stories is Golems, Goons, and Coldstone Bitches. And the reason I love that story so much is that it just grew organically. I had the beginning scene just kind of plopped in my head. The muse just plopped it in my head, and I just ran with it, and it just organically grew. And I almost felt like I truly was, and people have said this, just being drug along for the ride, and I just wrote it. And in the end of that story, yes, Jake has a lot of growth in that one story because he goes through a lot. He loses a lot and he gains a lot. But I don't really think too much about it. I want him to grow, but I'll let the story organically grow. I guess that's a part of the pantser in me. I am trying to be more hybrid. I've been, like I said, I've got three projects I'm working right now. So I'm trying to do more of a hybrid pantser plotter so that I can get stuff going, because if you just do a pantser, sometimes I just flap around, unless you got a really, really deadline. But so yeah, for me, a lot of the Jake stories just organically grew, and I just took them along for the ride.
Is your approach different for writing the shorter fiction than writing the longer one for you, or do you find it's the same process?
Oh, no, shorter fiction, because you have such a smaller time to do it in. You've got to really get to it and not really mess around. Boom, 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 boom.
Gotcha.
Actually, shorter fiction's harder because you're having to do so much in such a small space and use so few words. Depends on, of course, your word count and all that, but it's harder. But it's a lot of fun. It's a challenge, but man, it can really, it's really, really hard.
Have you looked back at your catalog at all and kind of reflected on what you've accomplished and where you are, and kind of looked at, are you a much different writer than you were when you first started, and how much you've grown?
Oh yes, I've been pulling a lot of old stuff out of some boxes, and it's amazing things I haven't published.
I love when you find those. Right, those are like the hidden gems. You feel like Indiana Jones.
How many exclamation points do you need, sweetie? Seriously.
Right.
What were you thinking? My very first thing I ever started writing, I wrote this novel. What was it called? The Ozymandias Jewel. I don't remember. It was some weird space opera, Star Trek, Star Wars. I was 17. Okay, I was 17. And I still have it because it's god awful. And it's terrible. But again, it's one of those things of like, how many exclamation points do you need, sweetie?
Yeah.
And also, every chapter starts with someone walking down a hall. Every chapter. But I was 17 and I was in high school, and that's what my life was. My life was walking down hallways. So yes, very, very much so. I'm looking at old stuff. I find that I grammar has gotten a lot better. Also just getting to the point of it all. That's a big thing too. Because when you're doing short stuff, you don't got time to play. You get right to it. But yeah, of course. You hope so. If you're still looking at stuff and you're still doing the same 10 years from now, you're not growing. You're not growing as a writer. You should always look back at your stuff and go, I do. I look back at my stuff and there's stories that I've written that I love. I wrote years ago. And I love the stories. And I'm always like, I just put those aside because that's a little piece of, that's good. Good. But I have just as much of, oh my God, what were you thinking, sweetie? I have boxes of Travis Dare stuff. It's a series I was trying to write years ago, and it's just god awful. I was trying to read that, and it's just. What were you thinking? Were you drinking? What were you doing? What were you thinking, sweetie? It's just awful. But yeah, you should. As an artist, you need to grow. So yeah.
Yeah, it's that's the first peak of the mountain, right? Is when you figure out how to get to the point faster, right? That seems to be the aha moment for every writer, is that moment when they figured out how to get from point A to point B without, trampling into C and D,
Yes. When I used to do these writer workshops with the National Writers Group, one of the things that always upset people, I found, especially new writers, newbies, is that they would give you a story, and they would give me a story, and I would say, okay, cut all this off, start here. This is where your story. But I don't care. Don't kill your babies. I know you worked 6 months on those 3 paragraphs. I don't care. They're crap. Toss them. And I do that too. I'll write a story. Of course, your first draft is, of course, your Play-Doh draft. Just write it, just vomit it out, write it, and then when you go back to redo it, you're going to probably get rid of all of that. But that's fine. That is fine. Your first draft's where you find your story. And it's fine. It's absolutely, it's fine. One of the biggest gripes is when you watch a movie and someone's writing a book, they always write the book. And I'm like, that's not how it works. Not how it works. You write that first draft, and your second draft, and your third draft, and your 6th draft, and then you let someone else read it, and for them to go, oh, sweetie, and then you chop, and it's not like you just squirt out a masterpiece. That doesn't happen. Ever. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever, I'm in multiple drafts usually.
Oh, gosh, are you insane? Oh, no. But the story that I'm writing right now, it's going to be about a 3,000 word story. It's for a friend. He's doing an anthology. And I'm just writing. I'm just writing until I find the vein. I call it finding the vein. Until I find the vein, and then I'll just, because I have it outlined. I know what I want to say. I'm just gotta find that vein. Once you find that vein, it's like hitting heroin. Whoosh, you're gone. For me, it is. When I find that vein, whoosh, I'm gone, and then everything just happens. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
For people who don't know you've also participated in some 24-hour film festival.
Yes.
And I'm curious what acting has done for your writing. Do you feel like it's helped you in any way? Do you feel like you gained something from the acting, or is it a different muscle that you're using when you're doing the acting?
Well, like you're writing a screenplay is a lot different than writing a novel or anything like that. But it was fascinating for me because I would just write my little bit, and then to watch the cinematographer take my bit and then just start storyboarding it out so that he could do it, he could shoot the shots. And that to me is fascinating. But it helps you again to learn to
compartmentalize.
Just to zoom in. What is important? What's important in the scene? Everything means something, especially when you're doing 48 hour. You don't have time, so everything has to mean something. You don't have time to watch a faucet drip. Everything has to mean something. You get things done, and so that really helped a lot. Also, watching movies now, I see a lot more. I'm watching, and as for acting, again, it's more about learning how to cut away the chaff. Just get to the straight stuff. When all the acting I've ever done is pretty much been a lot of improv stuff.
Okay, well, that's good for you.
Improv is it's a thing. And I did this.
I'm curious if you had problems with kind of, because especially on camera, the one thing that is really prominent for actors, and the thing that is the hardest thing for young actors to learn, is how to be softer, how to less is more on a camera. And was that something that you had to struggle with a little bit, or did you get that right away?
I was always told I was natural. I never really tried. I don't think about the camera. I'm just doing the scene. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm never really worried about that.
Sounds like you pretty much nailed it then.
I try, because I've seen bad actors.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I've seen also great actors. Really, just people who are almost magical. And then you meet I've known great actors who are great when they do their thing. And then you meet them afterwards, and they're almost like empty bags. They don't have anything to say unless they have a script in front of them. And that to me is the saddest thing ever. I'm always like, weird. You don't exist until someone gives you a script. Is that what your thing is? What the hell? But I'm a writer. I had to make that decision whether to be a writer or an actor, because I can't do both. I know people who can't. I can't. I prefer writing because I don't have to worry about putting on the face, a la dis, and I can be ugly.
Let somebody else do that, interpret it how they
yes. I can be ugly and sit here in my
pajamas.
Basically, I swear to God. I mean, y'all can't see what's below. I am basically wearing some tattered stuff below because it's just comfortable, and I don't have to be pretty. I don't have to be on and all that. I can just. The thing about being a writer, though. You have to be clever. I was telling someone recently about the great thing about being a writer is I don't have to be pretty. I just have to be clever and interesting, which is sometimes even harder than being pretty. So, anyway, it's a thing. If you're going to, I keep also telling people, if you're a writer and you go to cons, you've done cons. When you go to a con, you've got to put on your face.
Yeah,
you got to put on a show to get people to come to your table to buy your books, and it's a thing, and it's a talent to be able to do that, and it's exhausting.
I think demeanor is more important than physical appearance, though, in that respect.
I have found yes, but it doesn't hurt.
I mean, you want to look presentable. You don't want to obviously look like you just rolled out of bed. But,
but
I don't think anybody's Well, I mean. It'd be an interesting experiment to see like a very, very pretty person try to sell a book, and then have somebody, of our ilk try to sell a book and see who sells more books.
There is pretty privilege. What was it? Someone told me the fuckability factor. It's still very important, even with writers. You want to be someone that someone wants to come up to talk to. You don't want to be the elephant man.
It's a different crowd, though. It's a different people. I think a lot of our people are more into the nerd culture and more into the culture aspect, and so they're not as concerned with that because they've been buried by it as much as we have.
Because we're all geeks. So
Yeah.
yeah, when I do like science fiction conventions and things like that, you're right. No one cares. No
Yeah.
one cares. The geekier you can possibly be, the more people you're going to get to your table. Also, the more open and you look like you're someone you can talk to. I've had people come to my table and I end up just talking to people. They tell me their whole life stories.
Yeah.
But then I've also done like literary festivals, and those you got to be pretty. Those you don't want to be too out there, because you got the literary people.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who will come up and start asking you all kind of publication questions and publishing questions, because they want to make you say, yes, I'm self-published, which I will not say. I'm independently published, thank you very much. And I get very, very snippy with these people because they think that for whatever reason, being an independent artist makes you you're trying to pull a con, or you're automatically bad. You're crap. And I tell these people, you don't understand. I don't have a publishing house doing my stuff. It's me. I have to buy my art. I have to pay my editor. I have to pay my layout artist. All of this comes out of my pocket. Do you think I make my money back? Hell no. I'll probably never make my money back. I'll never make my money back, and that's fine, because I'm still putting out the best thing I can do.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I mean, what is it? This latest one I just did. Where is it? Oh, where is this freaking book? Oh, this guy. I mean, it's a great cover. It's really good. That's a $300 cover. $300. I'm never gonna make that money back. It's gonna take me years. I sell these puppies for like $5 a pop.
Yeah.
Never gonna make that money back. But it's fine, because I love the cover. Jeffrey Hayes does he does this. He also does my Jake stuff. He does my Sherlock Holmes covers.
Yeah, they're nice. You have really good
Jeffrey. Oh no, I always pay my artists. I always pay, and always pay your artists. Always pay your editors. Pay. Anyway, that's my grouch. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, it's just your average muggle doesn't know.
Yeah.
And they think they're being. This only really ever happens in literary festivals.
Yeah.
You don't get that kind of crap with when you go to science fiction or fantasy cons. Everyone there is just. There is a crap you get, though. There is something. There is something, and it's something that I think you really hone in on when you're in your own writing, and that's the authenticity of who you are. Right? I think you can't be fake at a sci-fi con. You can't put on a Star Trek officer uniform and not know your insignia, not know you better
who you're
know
representing.
Your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you do that and you're just doing it to do it, they will sniff you out and destroy you.
They will destroy you. That's one of the great things I do love about science fiction and fantasy cons is, for me, I think to me that's what heaven is like. Because people who go to those things are being their most truest self.
Yeah.
And so free. There was
it's really cool to see.
One I went to in Alabama, and there was this girl who came in, and she was, I don't know anime from anything, but she was wearing this beautiful costume, right? And she just, you could tell she was very, very kind of like this, worried somebody was going to say something to her. But she was gorgeous. But an hour later, I saw her, and it was like she just blossomed. And that's just what the thing was. Everyone there was being their Jedi self, their whatever anime self. They were being their most true self, and no one gave them any crap. And I just thought it was great. I mean, I understand. For us geeks and nerds who had to hide it all their lives, I never did. I don't give a shit. But people who have. It's a great way just to be yourself. Yeah. And that's what I love about those kind of cons. I just adore them.
And it's cool because those are usually really great people, and when they're comfortable in their own skin, in their own space, they are even better people.
They just blossom.
Yeah, it really does. I see a lot of people shine. Yeah.
They just do, and it's just beautiful and gorgeous.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just sit there at my table and just watch. And people watch and just watch these people. I know a week ago they were probably getting like just beat on in school. But right now, today they're Indiana Jones. And they are running amok. It's so much fun. I just, it just makes me feel almost a little glimmer of hope for humanity. So
Going back to the film festival thing real quickly, because I wanted to follow up and ask you, because you are somebody, you always say, if you pay me for it, I'll write it. So I'm curious how you do you enjoy the prompts that because for people who don't know what a 24-hour film festival is, they usually have like a genre or a line or something that you have to incorporate into the screenplay and the final product in order for it to qualify for the film festival.
Right.
And so it's usually like a line and then a character or something. It just depends on the festival. But I'm curious how you've enjoyed the prompting of those.
See, here's the thing. If you've been doing this for a while, the 48-hour film festivals, you prepare for the entire year. You don't just do this.
Yeah.
People who do that go crazy. So I'm with the group, and they're actually filmmakers. That's what they do. I'm just kind of playing with this. But anyway, we'll spend an entire year making up pitches. Okay, here's all the different boom, 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 boom genres, and we'll make up all these pitches for all these different genres, and we will kind of like have some favorites. Then we'll spend the year finding places that we can do XYZ, places.
You guys are like pros at this. This is awesome. I love it.
That's what you have to do. If you're going to play these games, what you have to do. Boom, boom, boom. And then, of course, you have your favorites, and then you go, and it's just a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to pull. Like last year, we had all this stuff set up for something, and we ended up getting, what did we get? We got sci-fi, I think. I don't remember what we even got. And it was just like, oh, crap. We have nothing for this. This was not what we were really hoping for. So we go back to the writing room at Stephen's house, and we open up a thing of whiskey, and we just kick back. It's me and Zach and Stephen, and we just kick back, drink whiskey,
figure it out,
make it up. And that's what we do.
You would be surprised at how many Hollywood movies get made that exact way.
Ever since doing 48 Hour, and when I watch a movie, I'm going, they just made that up. They absolutely just pulled that out of
That was
their
a
ass.
drunken bar session right there.
Oh, God, all the time. I'm like, that, I know where that came from. No. But then we do it, and then, of course, we have all the actors, and then we spend the next day, boom, popping it out. But it's, it's very disheartening when you pull something like, if God help us if we ever pull something like sports, we're screwed. We have nothing for we never have anything for sports or musical. Although we have a couple of musicians in our group, and they're just constantly, please get musical. And I'm like, you guys get musical. I'll do what you want me to do, but I'm not writing it because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, but you have to go in prepared. So yeah, we had a lot of fun this year. It was a lot of fun. We did it. We all did it. And we did it pretty well. We got everything done. Boom, 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 and got it sent in time because way back before the pandemic, you had to take it, zoom it, take it physically, and give it to the people. Now you just send it to them.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of because it was very, very stressful. It's a lot of fun. But it does. It's really hard. Like one of the prompts last year was, you had to have a portrait of a pet. A portrait of a pet, which was, and I'm like, it's fine. I've got several portraits I've got a portrait of Jack. I've got several we can use. So we brought them, we put them on the walls, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. It's like your perfect energy. It's totally for you. I totally see you thriving.
Boom, boom. I love stress. I love stress. I'm an anger motivated individual, so I need them dilemmas.
Yeah, it's a different beast for sure to do those. And does it I don't want to say does it motivate you, but does it intrigue you to maybe try doing a longer form where you'd have more time and set up a movie? I mean, even if it's just a short film, you wouldn't have to do in 48 hours.
I have one. I've been working on. I've got the script. I've even got a guy who is he works with Chicago Fire. A lot of those things. And he's the cinematic something. I don't know. But anyway, he's interested in helping me produce this thing. I just got to get the money.
Nice.
So I've got it. I've got the script, and it's a little short thing. It's maybe 10 minutes long. This movie. It's a horror movie called The Lazarus Club, and it's a lot of fun. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I just got to get the money. The money. I need at least $15,000, and it's like what the fuck is that? So
that's not as difficult as people might think, but it is difficult. Money is difficult.
I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking into it, but I would love to. But script writing is a whole different beast than novel writing. Actually, I think in a lot of ways it's kind of, well, I shouldn't say it's easier. It's more technical. Mm-hmm. You really got to understand about how you're going to shoot it. I'm just telling the story, but how are you going to shoot this? Because when I sent him the script, he's like, "That's great. How are you going to shoot this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's your problem. I just write the story. You got to figure out how to shoot it. You're the film guy. You're the guy with the camera." So yeah, but yeah, I do. I want to. It's on my list. I thought about that, but oh man, I don't. Oh god, that scares
tough.
me.
That's 15K is a lot tougher to reach. That's a tough goal to reach on a fun GoFundMe like that.
Especially
maybe for the finishing cost or the starting cost, you like a 2,000 or a 5,000. That's probably much more attainable. There's a couple places you can go and do this at as well. There's other funds out there. There's other places that fund things and do that. I'm blanking on one of the names right off the top. Seed and Spark is a good one.
Oh, Seed and Spark, okay.
Yeah, that's a good one to go check out. And they do, for you, if you're going to be the filmmaker, I don't know if that's your goal here, but if you're going to be the filmmaker, they do a lot of work for women, and they have a fund drive that they do solely to get more women to make movies, and
I will look into that. I will use my gender. I have no problem with that. So might as well. It's always worked against me. Might as well use it for what I can. But no,
I've met these ladies who. It's run by two ladies, I believe, and I've met them, and they're very, very smart. They're very good at what they do, and they boast an 85% success rate. And it's not a joke. They really know how to get it done, and so it's a really good place if anybody else is out there looking at film, trying to make a film. It's a really good place to check out.
Yeah, send me that info because I would like to look more into that, especially to get this started. But it's something. It's on my to-do list.
Are you a 3-act structure person? Do you follow 3-act structure with your novel writing as much, or are you?
I think I do. I don't really work. I think I do, but I'm more of a just whatever the story needs. But I have found that most stories do a boom, boom, boom. They just do.
Yeah. Have you done research into like Save the Cat and stuff like that before? Have you looked at those?
I've read Save the Cat. I've even I think I have it on my wall here. I used to somewhere. What was it? Dan Harmon's Story Circle uses for Rick and Morty, and I've been watching a lot of Community lately. I don't know why. I've just been watching Community, and when I watch,
they're making a movie.
I know 6 seasons in a movie. I love watching that show because for me it's like, again, thinking about, I would love to see the scripts. I'd love to see the scripts for these things. The scripts must be hey. XX chromosomes. We're stable. XY is not stable. You're just not stable. I'm sorry.
Well, we've had enough of the movie pie. It's time to get some women perspectives out there. I think it's so much needed, especially in Hollywood. I think that interjection. I mean, the testosterone-fueled crap that is being spewed out on a daily basis now is just. It's getting too much. It's getting overwrought, and I would like to see, because I've known some female directors, and they really had a hard time getting started, and
they must have, yeah.
But I also know a lot of them that have been successful. So, it's goes both ways. But I think it needs to be more prevalent at the top than in the middle. And I mean, for indies is indies. We're all gonna do our best to try and do what we can, but but at the top levels where it really needs to come to fruition, because it's tiring watching the same fucking guys do the same fucking 7 movies over and over again.
and over and over again. Yeah.
But so I was curious about the 3-act structure thing, because that is very prominent in screenwriting and something that is very prevalent. And I mean, I know you pretty well, and I know that you're not as haphazard as people might guess you are. You're pretty structured in a lot of ways.
I guess I am. I am. I might seem a little, but actually, no. When I do write, it is very much, Especially the Jake stuff. The Jake has its own little start in a first POV, then it goes to a third POV, then it wounds up back to the first POV that ends up in this. I'm very much about a circle. I'm very much a circle person. I like to end up in the same place.
Very, very, very much like 3-act structure in a lot of respects.
You end up. Well, you start here, you end up back here, but you're changed. Somebody should have changed by the time you get all the shit you put this person through. Something should have changed by the time you get back up here.
And another reason why I know that about you is because you do a lot of research. You're a thirst of knowledge. You love to absorb knowledge on a lot of subject matter, and you use that for your writing. I was curious to ask you, what's some advice you might give somebody who might not be as good at research as you are, in terms of how to get started with it, or what would your advice be as far as research goes?
The biggest thing about research, and it's the pitfall you gotta worry about research, is to find yourself so immersed in the research you forget the story. Remember, it's the story is what's important. And if you learn something that doesn't really work for the story, don't use it. I mean, don't worry about it. It's fiction. You can do whatever you want. You're God. You can make whatever you want to happen. Don't let yourself get too bogged down in the facts. That's my big thing, is because I will find myself get too bogged down in the facts. Oh my God, well, I can't do this story now because blank, blank, blank didn't happen. Screw you. Blank, blank, blank has happened now because I say so. I need this to happen for this story. This is fiction and you are God. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Who cares? But no, that's the biggest thing. Don't get too bogged down. I think even Stephen King talked about that. Don't get too bogged down in the weeds or in the facts. Don't worry about that. I find that because I do find myself doing that sometimes. I also find it to be a way of procrastinating.
Not writing the story.
I can just progress. I'm working. No, you're not. You're simply going deeper and deeper and deeper. Yes, exactly. You can do it. Yeah. It can help you. Or sometimes if I'm looking for something for a story, I will just start playing around with it. And the biggest thing I can tell you is don't let yourself get too mired in, because you can. There's an author, I used to love her stuff. I won't say her name. I used to love her stuff until she started writing historical fiction. And it isn't so much historical fiction. I'm talking everything in the book is historically accurate, down to what they wore, what they ate, what they did. No one gives a shit. The story completely, it was lost. I didn't care. It was 300 pages of reading like somebody's grocery list. I don't care. Yeah. Where's the story? And it was sad because she has some brilliant stuff until she decided to become, well, I'm not just a fiction writer, I'm a historian. Oh man, you're a fiction writer. And there's nothing wrong with being a fiction writer. Write your story. No. There's something wrong with being a storyteller. And even being like, when you write, I write genre stuff. I write horror. I write pulp. I write whatever fun stuff. I am definitely not literary. I am not a literary person because it's not fun. If I'm not going to have fun, what's the point?
Right, so, you're not making any money, so you might as well have fun.
My last royalty statement was 4 cents. That's the kind of money I'm making with this stuff, people. 4 cents. So, yeah, I'm like, why are you even sending me this? Why? Are you trying to hurt me? Is that what it is? You trying to hurt me? So, no, I don't do this for the money, God knows. But I do. I love my stories. I really do. And it's what I do. It makes me feel, Jesus, it makes me feel whole. It's the only time in my life when I don't when I'm writing is when I don't feel like I should be doing something else. You ever do that?
Of
When you're
course,
doing
yeah.
something
That's very prominent in my life as well. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're
I really
doing
feel that.
other things, you're thinking, man, I really should be doing this. When I'm writing.
Yeah, I'm always, you know me, I'm busy and I'm doing multitasking on a lot of things.
Yes.
And when I'm writing, though, I'm writing. I'm totally immersed in it. I never stray from it. And that's the one thing that I can do, that I can do without going off onto something else.
My brain does not suddenly go, oh, it's time to do some laundry now. No, trust me. The world ceases to exist outside this room when I'm writing. But again, like you, I'm like
part of the reason why I have problems sitting down and writing, though, because I'm doing so much other shit. You know?
Well, me too. I'm like a spider in the center of a web. All of my legs I'm doing 5 things at once, and it is a problem because I do.
Yeah.
I nearly died a few weeks ago because eating a taco. I turned to start doing other stuff. Choked on the taco.
Oh my god!
Started vomiting up the taco. Because I scratched the back of my throat because of the and because it all became because I was doing so many things. You know what? Stop. Eat the taco.
Eat the taco.
Think of the next thing. That was what the universe was trying to teach me that night. Was to stop, eat the taco, then do the next thing. It's a thing. It's a problem. I'm still working on it, but it's something that I do. I'm always doing 5 things about one time.
Yeah.
Because my brain is there. Yeah.
I always feel when I look at my to-do list and I've only crossed off 2 things, I never look at it as I've crossed off 2 things. I look at it as the other 8 things I haven't crossed off. And that's always how I've approached it. And then I start to panic and rush and hurry and trying to get more done. And it never works out. I've had to learn how to slow down as well and just do one thing at a time and appreciate that you've done 2 things, you know?
Because what I'll do is I'll make a list, boom, 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 boom. That list starts getting longer and longer and longer, and my little higher self goes, "Oh, sweetie, just pick 3 because you're not doing all of that. You're not doing all of it. Just pick 3 because no, that's not happening, sweetie. It's not happening." And I've had to learn that's true. It's I'm not going to do all those things, and so as you get older,
and the world's not going to stop because you didn't do those things. That's the other thing I had to know.
Well, as a Southern woman, keeping a tidy house is like it's in our DNA. It's just ingrained in us. I'm constantly having to stop myself from spending my entire day. Don't sweep the floor. The floor can be dirty. It's fine. The queen is not coming over, and if she does, she can freaking sweep it herself.
Yeah, she can pick up a dustpan. Yeah.
But it is a thing that I have to constantly tell myself that it's okay if the house, it's okay. It's all right. Just as long as hoarders isn't coming in to take away everything, I'm fine. That's my biggest thing. Is I don't end up like hoarders because I could very easily end up like hoarders. I have a lot of crap. So much stuff.
So yeah, that's interesting because I was thinking about what Anita said earlier about how you can always use the research tidbit for the sequel. She mentioned that you can always use the research tidbit in the sequel, and for me that doesn't work because I throw shit away all the time. I don't even.
You do. I don't. I'm a hoarder. Getting back to the hoarder thing. I have boxes of stuff of things that and if I write something, I just put it aside, thinking, well, also I'm lazy. I'm extremely lazy, and I figure I can cut and paste that. I've saved myself a few paragraphs. I've already wrote that. I have learned this about myself.
And you've automatically written 200 words then, right? Or something.
You
like
have.
That, right?
Boom! I just popped it over. It doesn't matter that I wrote it 2 years ago. It doesn't matter. It fits.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when. It matters that it's there now.
Is it there now? Is the story going? We got things going. So yes. It's I'm very lazy.
I'm curious. I'm curious though. In your research wormholes, has it ever changed a POV or changed a major plot point for you in doing the research?
Not yet, no, because I'm trying.
You've always been able to stay on point.
Yeah, I'm using the research as pretty much as almost like a centerstone for the story. Yeah, pretty much.
It's the knife sharpening, right? It's the block that sharpens the knife.
So yeah. So far, it hasn't been a big problem. I have changed things, like for instance, in the Jake stories, the Boo Daddy, which is an actual southeastern kind of legendary monster. In the legends, the Boo Daddy's kind of like a monster. It's like a boogeyman. But I needed it to be a protective totem, so I just switched it because I'm God, and I switched it and changed it to be what I need it to be. But for me, no. I'm doing some research for another story that I want to write eventually in the future, and it has to deal with a very nasty serial killer, and the toy box killer. I'm sure Anita knows, and I'm doing a lot of research in that, and that is wow. That's really helping me to form the story that I want to do with that. I want to write the story that's imagine Betty and Barney Hill meet the toy box killer. Boom. That's what that story's going to be about, and that's something I want to write. It's in the future but it's something that I've got working on back here. So, but no, I try not to. No, usually for me the research is kind of the center stone, so it doesn't really doesn't. Are you
a big absorber of pulp and like cozies and stuff like that? Is that your jam, or do you read something differently?
Not really. I don't read much. I read a lot of pulp. I like to read pulp. I don't read a lot of cozies, mainly because they bug me. They do. I mean, they're fun. I shouldn't say they bug me. Cozies are great. Cozies are great if you just want to sit. If you just want to sit and read something, you're going to forget in a week, because you will. They're just fun. They're nothing that is going to change your life. If I have to read one more detective story where a cat is basically stop those. I hate those. Stop them. Stop.
God, I still relate to that.
I'm sorry. I have 6 cats, and I assure you, not a damn one of them is going to be solving my murder.
I've read probably more cozies than I've ever read this year and in my lifetime, and 95% of them have that problem.
Cats.
That
I have 6 cats, and not a one of them is ever going to solve my murder. I assure you, they don't care. They're cats. But but this past year has been great for cozies. Actually, this past 4 years has been great for cozies, because
cozies have really made a resurgence. Yeah.
Well, you need it. It's just life sucks right now, and it's so hard. And you just every time you turn on the news, it's constant death, war, destruction. It's just fun. Which a lot of the stories I write are just so much fun. It's just a lot of it. It takes
Do you like the pacing of pulp? Because pulp has a real good cadence and a pacing.
Boom, 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 boom. I'm very Hemingway in that way. I'm very much like, just get to it. I love podcasts. Love them. However, my biggest problem with podcasts are I hate it. They truly. My biggest problem with podcasts is when you've got a podcast when the first 20, 30 minutes of them is talking about their days. I don't care. I don't care about your days. Get to the murder. Can we please get to the murder, please? I don't care. Just get to the murder. Maybe it's my ADHD. I don't know. I just want to get to it. I don't like. How
about when they do the first 10 minutes of ad reads? That always drives me crazy.
I just.
That's why I've never done a podcast, because I just can't do that. I just can't sit there and read ads for 10 minutes.
I just fast forward. Whoop! Got through. But I mean, I do love podcasts. I really do. I love true crime. I love weird stuff. But I just can't stand. I just get to it. Don't fluff it for me, because maybe it's just my Gen X-ness. I just don't trust fluff. You start fluffing things, and I'm instantly going, all right, what are you trying to sell me?
How does Sherlock Holmes weasel his way into your heart then? That's an interesting idea, because he's very starch and talk about cozies. It's like a watered down cozy in a lot of respects.
Well, actually, no. Sherlock Holmes is pulp. He started out. I mean, they were pulp. They were pulp. That's basically.
They're a little slow for pulp, aren't they?
Well, remember they were written Victorian times. We're talking a whole different time, which is my story's a lot more upbeat or more boom, 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 because
which I'm sure goes well over with the Hitchcockian or the.
So far, no one's ever given me any crap.
Oh, that's good.
So far, nobody ever has. And the guy who, my editor for this, is a Holmesian. So he was very great. He was very good at keeping me on tack, keeping it Holmes. Because trust me, I would send him these chapters, and he'd be like, "No, we cannot have porn. There's there's no porn in this. That's not no. But it's funny. It's really, really funny, and it's historically accurate. These little pornographic thingies, and he's like, nope, can't have it. So I toss it out. No, but Sherlock Holmes, if you read his stuff, I mean, not all the Sherlock Holmes stories are good. Some are absolute crap.
Yeah.
But no, it's pulp. It's fast. Boom, boom, boom. And I like a smart hero. I'm very, very big about smart heroes who don't. Probably why I liked Wednesday is that she's just smart and she doesn't pick any crap. Same thing as Sherlock. Although in the stories he's much nicer than, say, for instance, the Benedict Cumberbatch version or even the Jeremy Brett version. He's actually a lot kinder. And anyway, so yeah, no, Sherlock Holmes is pulp, and it's a lot faster paced than a lot of people think. But yeah.
Anita says the Victorians were big on porn.
Dracula is just one long porn story. That's all it is. It was considered porn. And Bram Stoker, when he wrote it, his wife was no longer having sex with him because she had a baby, and she's like, I'm done. This is never happening again. So this poor, frustrated theater manager writes porn with vampires. So
that's awesome. I mean, for me, the Sir Conan Doyle's story of himself is more interesting than his books, but that's just me personally.
Okay.
You know, he's an interesting character in himself. So.
He was interesting in the fact, being a doctor. His views actually on women were very progressive for the time. His views on marriage extremely progressive for the time. He was actually very interesting. He really fought for divorce rights.
Yeah.
Because he desperately wanted to divorce his first wife. When he married her, she had TB. He figured, okay, she'll be dead in a year or so. This bitch lasts 20 years. When are you going to die? And then he meets his great love, and he can't marry her until this chick dies. And it was just stupid. It was like, why can't I get divorced?
I think one of the most fascinating things about those times and the people who write in those times is they're really teaching us DIY more than any other time period, because there wasn't big publishing back then, and there was publishers and stuff like that. But they really, in order to do this, you just had to go and do it and really learn how to do it. And I think that's something that we miss a lot now because we're so spoiled by being, groomed and tarred and feathered a lot.
So much.
Yeah.
What was that? I read somewhere, if you're a reader, you're secretly a writer. Because you read. If you read, then you trust me, you probably know a lot about writing, more than you probably think you do know. Because you have to read to write, period.
But they don't understand the disciplines and everything like that, and that's when people start to go out. They start to say, I'm out after that. They don't get it.
Yes. I've run a lot of writers groups, and people who start writing, they find out how hard it is. This is not easy.
Yeah.
There's nothing easy about this. They find how hard it is, and a lot of them just fall to the wayside, which is fine. It's fine. But to me, it's always beautiful to watch someone blossom, watch them grow as a writer, and they start, and you see them, you see them fall. You're like, okay, boom, 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 and they'll trip and they'll fall, and they'll get right back up and keep working and working and working and write something gorgeous. It's great. I love it. There's nothing better in the world to watch someone who is actually, as they grow as a writer. It's just great.
Well, it's super easy to talk to you for an hour. We ripped through it very easily. Okay. It was amazing to talk to you as always, my friend.
Me too.
So fascinating, and I love the conversations that we end up having. So it's always great.
It's always so much fun.
So tell everybody where they can find you and to do all the things so that we can get you more than 4 cents this time.
More than 4 cents. All my stuff is available on Amazon.
That needs to be a T-shirt, by the way.
Oh my gosh, it needs to be. I think I will. All my stuff's on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. If you can just go look me up, Nikki Nelson Hicks, or you go to my little website there, nnhbooks.com. That has links to it. There you go. Everything's there.
Is anything coming out in the near future for you?
Well, okay. So right now, like I said, I'm working on 3 projects. And Politics of Children and Other Stories of Revenge is a collection of short stories that I will have out.
Working on that one for a bit.
I've been working on it forever. I know. But I love the stories in it, and I'm really working hard to make them the best stories ever. But I'm really hoping to have them all done by this summer, 2023.
Nice.
I am working on another one that I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say anything about. It's kind of a super secret project with Ron Lahr.
Cool.
And another story, and I'm writing a thing. What's the name of that thing? It's called. Hold on one second. It's called. Yes. Razor blades in in short-sized candy. Basically, it's going to be an anthology of horror comedy, and I'm working on a story for that. It's going to be. Well, I'm having fun. That story is going to be so much fun. So I'm writing that one. That's a lot of fun. But yes, that's what I'm writing right now.
Nice, awesome. Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And everybody, just remember, it's always time to go and eat now, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.